Check the chickens in Czechoslovakia.
Shittering chickens, chain smoke, chinchillas.
Here, cat, come purr into this microphone.
Cinema. That was Kino, bro.
Okay. Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today we're living life 800 milligrams of ibuprofen at a time.
Fast and dirty.
It's a lifestyle. You gotta live it, gotta love it.
Bro, you gotta combine it, right? With the Tylenol?
You combine ibuprofen with Tylenol. Isn't ibuprofen just the same thing?
I mean, aspirin. Yeah, you stack them.
Okay.
For the best pain relief, because they work slightly differently.
Oh, okay. So the aspirin just doesn't that thin your blood a lot more too? So it goes through your body faster?
I think they
make the pain go away faster. I
think they both are thinners slightly, but they have a slightly different mechanism.
So I get it. My veins turn into super highways.
Yeah. Soup veins.
Soup
bro, you need them soup veins, bro. So what's going on? What are we doing?
We're faking it until we make it.
This is the part of the year where I come off as much more reasonable.
Very valid. It's mostly just because I'm exhausted, but it's we have you have something, I'm sure. I
got a couple things cooking up, so I'm working on
this podcast is gonna suck. This episode's gonna be, just skip it,
bro. I'm putting all my podcast energy into an episode that we're probably not even going to record for another month.
Sick.
I'm deep into this terrorist attack I'm researching. I'm deep in the I'm trying to pick the right words.
Oh boy, I can't wait to record this podcast. I can't record this episode. That's going to be great.
I'm very deep into Islamic terrorism right now.
Fun.
And it actually is pretty fun. Dude, you know what I appreciate about, I've said this before, but I really do mean it. At least they have the balls to do what they believe in. It's like Christians suck.
Mm-hmm.
They can be equally as dangerous in different ways.
They're so two-faced about it.
Yeah, Islamic terrorists go hard as fuck.
It's like they say they'll kill you, and then they will do it.
Yeah. So the goal is in about a month from now, we'll have a fatwa against us. And
cool.
Yeah, if all goes well.
I don't know what that is, but I'm sure we'll find out. It'll be great.
When Islamic leadership puts out a command, basically a command for any Muslim in the world to kill you on sight, and they're often rewarded through martyr funds or payouts or just admittance into heaven.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Larry David had one put out on him.
Oh, fun. Well, he's still kicking, so it can't be that bad.
But we're way more better at fighting than Larry David.
Yeah, he can't defend himself. He's that rickety old man.
Here's the funny part is I actually don't know if that's true, but he did it in one of his episodes, so I'm running with it. He did have mix-ups with Islam, but I don't know if the fatwa was actually real. It sounds like a joke, though. All right, well, here's the first thing I got for us on the docket.
Oh, yeah, hook me up.
In case we do get shot by religious zealots, I found our first product that I want to shill. Now,
cool.
A company did already...
Wait. We've done this before. We had banquet. Banquet meals.
This is real shit, okay? This is doctor shit, okay? Now, it already exists.
Doctors don't like banquet meals.
No, they do not. But I think we should get the rights to it. So the FDA just cleared a new device that stops bleeding from gunshot wounds in seconds. That's pretty incredible. How do you think What do you think this device is? How does it work?
It's a device?
Of sorts, a medical instrument.
A medical instrument. And it stops bleeding.
Incredibly effectively and quicker than anything really has previously.
I mean, is it like a laser thing that like cauterizes the wound?
No, it's you can hold it in one hand and it weighs under a pound.
Oh, this is like some future sponge.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, really?
Yeah. So the company Cressalon created this device called Trauma Gel, which can stop bleeding from wounds in seconds. It is already being looked at for future uses by the Department of Defense. As advanced as medicine is in some areas, when it comes to stopping bleeding, most solutions are decidedly old school. Applying pressure and trying to absorb blood with powder or by packing wounds with gauze. Trauma Gel, which earned the Food and Drug Administration's medical device clearance on Wednesday, this article came out on August 15th, so a couple weeks or whatever back, could change how first responders address severe bleeding. Trauma Gel, which will launch this year, is a 30 ml syringe of an algae and fungus-based hemostatic gel.
Oh,
that's the color and texture of hummus. It can be applied directly into a wound, which staunches bleeding within seconds. The FDA cleared its use for moderate to severe bleeding. It's kind of like those big needleless syringes, you know, where you can shoot water out of them or whatever, but it's like packed with this hummus.
That's fucking awesome.
Dude, and apparently it works crazy good. In addition to stopping bleeding quickly, the product's flowable properties can improve the safety of treating something like a gunshot wound. Quote, if you have a roll of gauze and you have to pack that into a bullet wound inch by inch, and you have to ensure it's making contact with whatever is bleeding, end quote, it's painful for the patient and it's dangerous because it can expose the EMT or emergency physician to shrapnel or other shards of bone, while Trauma Gel finds its way to where it needs to go. Bro, it's medical duct tape.
Man, that's some cool shit. You know, who would have thought that, you know, the thing that would save so many people's lives would just be hummus in a syringe.
Dude, just pack your wounds full of pond scum, apparently.
You know, it's appearing at a Middle Eastern restaurant near you. Hummus in a syringe.
91% of battlefield mortality is due to preventable hemorrhages, which means if there's only a better product to stop bleeding, a lot of lives could be saved. That's very interesting. Like how many years have people been dying from like very preventable bleed outs? Mm-hmm. This shit could be huge. Apparently it was used in the last few years by veterinarians for animals. And it's just now made its way to like human approval.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah. So they've been packing animals with this algae for a while. Finally got their approval. Now, the company, I think it's Cressalon or whatever, they are not public yet. So they're still a private stock. But I'm waiting for the day they go public because I think it'll be a big stonk, okay? I'm going to have diamond hands and we're going to go straight to the moon. You know what I mean?
That sounds fucking good to me. GameStop that shit.
Yeah, I think you should buy in with me and our whole audience, okay?
Everyone jump on board.
Big
Don't
stock
fucking
tips.
sell.
Bro, I'm up. I'm making money.
I am too, but I don't have time to spend it.
That is not an ideal problem.
You know, it's maybe, but it's not a bad way because I have all winter to spend it. Don't worry. Go ahead.
You go.
I was gonna say the best part about it is I've gotten it to a point where my car insurance should be paid for the entire rest of the year until, you know, busy season starts again. I have all the little all of my expenses are mostly like covered at this point for the rest of the, until busy season starts again. And now I get to, make my fun money.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. That's definitely how it is with seasonal work when you make it through the feast period and then get, any extra above your bare minimum is like, all right, sweet, we got fun money for the Phantom. Oh my God, we got fun money.
Fun money for the Phantom.
For the Phantoms.
The Phantom that's stealing my fun money.
The fun Phantom. Now, I don't know about you, but
that could be our mascot.
A really fun Phantom.
Yeah, he just comes with he has board games and drugs.
Yeah, drugs. There we go. I was actually about to say, I don't know about you, but since I got sober, I feel so hood rich, dude. I have unlimited fun tickets. It's meaningless. I don't know what to do. It's
they go play some putt-putt golf or something.
I don't like doing fun things.
Well,
my dad the other day, I went over there for dinner, and he wrote me a nice card, and he gave me $100, which is kind of an abnormal thing, right? He doesn't.
It's not your birthday,
right? He was just he wrote me a nice card, and he was like, "I want you to do something fun with this," and which is kind of a rare thing. I was like, "Cool," and I can't figure out what to fucking do with the money besides food.
Let's say if you go to Dave and Buster's, that shit'll be gone in 15 minutes.
2 seconds, and a kid will beat me up for
your
plastic
tickets.
Toy. Yeah, bro. All my fun money is just tattoos. I don't know what else to do with money. Because I don't care about money or fun things.
Get you a. I don't know what's a cool thing that's under $100.
I don't know. Everything's
expensive.
My family calls pocket money cigarettes and candy money because I spent so many years using all the fun money for cigarettes and candy.
You said
my little sisters will be like, I need $20 for cigarettes and candy. It's pretty funny.
It's pretty fucking good.
Now, you seem like the type of guy who knows about samurais. I feel like if I bumped into you on the street, I could be like, what are 3 famous samurais? I feel like you'd get one.
There's the Lone Wolf and Cub.
Is that real?
Yes, that's a real one.
See, I fucking knew you would know.
That's just the one. If we go fictional, he's a fictional, character based on samurai. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know the Double M guy? He was one of the most famous samurais. It's Mama.
I don't think that's what it was, but I don't know.
He killed more other samurais than most samurai.
It's pretty fucking cool, dude. That's pretty dope, actually.
I think he's the guy that wrote the 5 Rings or whatever, but he's a legendary real samurai. But one of his quotes was something to the effect of, "We should never need anything outside of ourselves." I always like that. There's what's better than having everything is wanting nothing kind of vibe. But I don't want it.
Unfortunately, we do need water and food.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate biohack though? Is needing less shit. You
have a constantly refilling IV that's just attached to you.
Mm-hmm.
Be pretty dope, actually. You can fill it with hummus.
I heard someone raise this hypothetical the other day. Is there any
gonna roll over that? I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Oh, I got 2 of them for you now. Okay. Is there any way it could be possible to have a slow-growing cancer, very, very a lazy cancer, right? He's not eating away at you very quickly. He's taking his time, savoring you. But you also had an incredibly large appetite, and you could out-eat your cancer. Is that possible?
I'm glad you come to me with this question. My background in the medical field allows me to absolutely tell you that That is the slow cancer that doesn't eat at you fast enough that you notice it. It's up there in probably my top 5 fears for sure.
Imagine it doesn't metastasize to other parts of your body, but it like starts as a mole and it starts like eating at your fat, but you're able to pack on pounds quick enough that there's always more of your body for it to eat than you could eat enough food at a rate that it couldn't take over you because you're adding so much.
So it's a cancer what makes me hot and thin and in shape, but I get to eat as much food as I want to?
Yes, this is called cool cancer.
Yeah, that kind of kicks ass, actually. That sounds like the, get fit scheme that's right for me.
I'm sure there's been studies of it around types of cancer, but it's interesting with the biohacking communities, people that purposely give themselves diseases for the secondary effects, kind of like giving yourself a tapeworm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's, have you ever heard of autobrewery syndrome?
Is that where people get drunk on nothing?
Yeah, their digestive system has this bacteria that converts things they're eating into alcohol, like against their will. Like there are people, there's been people where it's like it's incredibly rare. So like every now and again, every blue moon or whatever, somebody will get a DUI or some alcohol related charge. And then they'll try to say that they weren't drinking. They just have this syndrome.
Mm.
And there's been a couple times the person actually did have it. There was a school teacher that got fired for showing up intoxicated to work, and he thought he was just like incredibly sleepy, or there was like he had some other like mental health disorder, and he didn't realize how like half drunk he was all the time. Mm-hmm. So he gets fired, and then he spent years in court trying to prove he had this syndrome, and they were like sending him to alcohol rehab and all these programs, and he kept failing for alcohol, and it like was a big problem. And there's been a handful of people like that, but most of the time it's people faking it because it's like incredibly, incredibly rare. But there's been a handful of really wild people that have tried to intentionally give themselves this disorder. And I think one of the methods is like just eating this particular yeast and bacteria mix. And then I think one guy got it to work, and it was like, I can't remember if he had to put it up his ass or not, but there was something weird where like you had to get this bacteria to grow in your guts at enough of a rate that it wouldn't be destroyed, and eventually your body would just produce it. And his goal was to be like eternally drunk without drinking. I mean, that's pretty fucking rad. That's like an alcoholic's, like dream.
Yeah, for sure. Before I keep going, there's definitely some heavy rain going on right now, so if you detect it, cool. Yeah, if you detect it later, that's why.
That's ambience. We're lo-fi trash cats tonight.
Yeah. It's coming down hard. That's pretty cool.
I hope there's a tornado.
Not today. There was almost one yesterday.
Every other house on the street except yours.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you let people into your basement, or would you like lock them out and hope they die?
I definitely wouldn't believe in God for sure, because there are a bunch of these houses over here that are owned or fixed or whatever by the church.
Yeah.
And I assume mine's the only one that has multiple instances of satanic imagery in it. So that's probably the extent of it. I don't, my next door neighbors on my one side are cool. They built a fence and didn't make us like chip in for it, which was dope. Like I told him I wanted to I was talking about putting in a higher fence, and he was like, actually, I know a guy. And then that's the extent of the conversation, and then he just did it.
Good. Fuck him. Build his own damn fence. What is this, a charity? Need me to kick in Fuck you. Build your own fence.
I mean, it's a shared fence.
No, it's his fence on his property, and he can go fuck himself.
He was worried because his dogs were, out in the backyard, and sometimes we'd be out there and like they would bark.
Wait. This man can't control his pets, so he wants you to buy him a fence? Get the fuck out
He never asked me to buy him a fence.
He said, please, neighbor, please, would you buy me a fence? My animals are too unruly.
I'm planning on doing it, but I work during the summertime, and I don't want to, we're not trying to pay someone else to install a fence for us or, whatever. That's not my goal.
I think he just sounds lazy and poor.
I don't think he's either one of those. I'm pretty sure.
And I hope he hears this.
I don't know the guy that well. I can't super defend him on the merits of his personality.
I do know him pretty well. I know all I need to know.
You know my neighbors better than I do. You come up here and hang out with my neighbors. Don't tell me you're in town. Just to keep an eye up on things in the neighborhood.
So I have the, I know we're going to do this another day, but I have the passcode to speak to the priest AI.
So fucking stupid.
Father Justin.
Is it really called Father Justin?
Yes, and it was created by the Catholic Church to help inform people of their religion. It's very fun. But I've been making a list of questions.
Are we going to try to break this AI?
He's pretty bumpered. Like when you go bowling, it's got a lot of bumpers. It doesn't let you get too crazy. But one of my first questions is definitely going to be, so Father, when did you stop beating your wife? It's the ultimate debate question. You win every single debate automatically.
Did you stop beating your wife?
When did you stop? There's no way to answer. No matter what, you lose. But I got a couple good ones. Do you think Jesus loves the Nazis?
That's another good one.
Because I'm expecting him to have to give an answer like Jesus loves all people. Oh, here, I feel like this one's pretty clever. So abortion's a sin. So is the sin of abortion better or worse if I do it myself? That way the doctor doesn't have to dirty his soul too. And most importantly, I think we can finally get a conclusive answer to how big is Jesus' penis.
Yes, finally.
If anyone's going to know, it's Father Justin.
Was he actually circumcised or no?
Oh, yeah, we need follow-up questions for sure.
Where is the real... What was it called? It's the word they used.
Jeebus Peebus?
I think that's what we called it.
What was the real... What is the real? The real what?
There's a real word for the foreskin.
Oh, the holy foreskin of Christ, of course. I can't remember what it was called.
I'm Googling it. I just Googled holy foreskin. The preface.
What are the... I forget every single time we bring it up. The immortales, the immortal pieces of saints and martyrs, the holy relics. There's a cool name that I can't remember because I'm not smart. All right, what else we got?
Wait.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Here's something. So I've decided I'm back all in on art.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Now the thing is,
what's the catch?
I don't think I believe in it anymore.
You're faking it till you make it.
I've kind of been doing it for a while. I'm just like determined to grind still.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned last episode I'm pretty disappointed in things, and I've always been pretty nihilistic, but I feel like I'm like pretty far gone now, where it just nothing matters. But it's I'm still choosing to stay engaged or to try to care about things, even if I feel like I don't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a challenge.
I wish I had something radical to believe in. Like I have kind of, unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunate. I think through this podcast, in part, I've like figured out, I think I really am an idealist. Mm-hmm. And that's like it is a disappointing thing in our world, because there's not a lot of things there aren't a lot of great ideals worth believing in, or, you know, we're stuck making a lot of compromise to our ideals to begin with, where it's hard to like hold out full belief in something when we're forced to make compromises so much. But I think I'm an idealist.
A nihilist idealist?
I think I'm a nihilist because I'm an idealist. Like I think because I'm not able to reach the ideals, or things aren't what I believe they should be, it leaves me very like left with the nihilism.
I can relate with that somewhat. I wouldn't say that perfectly describes my day-to-day, but I think pushed hard enough, that's probably what I also kind of lean on.
I think it was Bruce Lee who did the, move like water, bend, don't break kind of shit. I'm completely unaccepting. Like you have more bend, I think, where like I feel like you can make compromises without like compromising your ideals as much. And I'm much more unwilling to compromise, I think.
You're gonna break, man.
But I feel unbreakable. I'm fucking immortal, bro.
It turns out, well, I'll tell you now, you're not.
Bro, I'm cursed to live forever. My bones are fucking wrought iron, okay?
The fact that you're still here actually doesn't, it does lend to that, so.
I truly feel that. Like, I feel like I might be, like, destined to suffer, but I can't bend. I feel like whatever I'm feeling, I feel it to the most idealistic extent, and I don't know. Frustrating. Very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I agree a lot with the feeling of it's hard to care when everything just kind of seems like it's fucked beyond repair.
But are things fucked?
It definitely feels like that a lot of the times. It feels like the things that are close to me, that are like within my reach and my control, are like, it's good. Like, for the most part, like everything that's like close to me is good. But it feels like everything outside of that bubble is, at least everyone's constantly reminding me that, or every, thing that I see is constantly reminding me that, like, hey, things are fucked all over the place, and for the dumbest of reasons.
So I agree, like, but I think the bubble is like all that matters. We're like,
yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I focus heavily on the inner bubble for that reason.
Like, we don't have to war or eat each other to survive. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like things are that fucked. But I feel like my experience is, where like I know I feel like even more than a lot of other people, I think things are probably not as fucked as most people feel like they are, but it doesn't change it for myself. Where like, even if the bubble is okay, it's not what I expect the bubble to be. Like, it is not up to my ideal standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that entirely unacceptable. Like, this place is unacceptable. This world fucking sucks. And it's not that bad. At least right now in our bubbles, it's not that bad, but it's entirely unacceptable.
I think part of it also is the feeling of, I think, knowing that we, for generations and generations and multiple cycles of evolution have, arrived here. We had a chance, as a species to build something different, and I guess it technically is different than what you find amongst species in the wild, but
as a species, don't you think we're doing like good by an objective standard? Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But, like, humans are
better.
Well, yeah.
But I feel like there's so many problems that, as like, in particular, the one is like, like holy wars and shit. And it's like stuff that's like, it's dumb on principle, just for like the basis of why it's happening is based in, you mean falsehoods and uncertainties.
Do you mean in the past or current holy war?
All of the above.
Okay.
Like, that's just one of, it's like, it's such a...
It's the unacceptableness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how is this a thing that we are willing to, like, murder for? How is this a thing that we've gotten to the point where it's worth, in some, like, it's one thing to believe a thing, it's another thing to,
But isn't it one of the few things that should be worth murdering for? Like, this is where, like, I give the props back to Islam, where at least...
I don't think it'd be one thing if it was like, if I had, something of evidence and fact, and I tried to tell you that this is what this is, and you were like, no, that's not, and everyone else is like, no, it's not. All these people are saying that, like, trying to tell me I'm wrong, but I have evidence and proof and all of these things that prove that I'm right, and like, your people are trying to to lie to me, trying to lie about me, saying that I'm telling falsehoods, like shit like that. Like, that's that's gaslighting, right? That's the shit that can drive people crazy. But the difference is that there's no proof, there's no fact, there's no there's nothing beyond a choosing of belief.
So right now I'm going through all these old interviews and writings about terrorism in France, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to Sam Harris speak about something, and one of the big takeaways I had is the understanding that specific beliefs have specific consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my worldview leads me to the consequences, how I feel about the world. Mm-hmm. I feel like the beliefs of radical religious people, the violence is the direct consequence. So, like, when I'm tongue-in-cheek saying, at least I appreciate jihadists for enacting their beliefs. Like, I do find that way more respectable than being a hypocrite, in the sense, like, they're actually living their values. I don't actually have a problem, like, philosophically with
right.
the violence or the consequences. My problem is with like you said, with the beliefs. It's the believing of something that is not true.
How could you let yourself be so manipulated and brought to believe a thing so strongly without evidence, without any kind of proof, any kind of anything?
And that's like humanity as a species, we're doing well, right? But there's an actual infection of believing things that aren't true, and it spreads via social contagion. And I don't know why. Here's the question: why do we care if people believe things that aren't true? Like, what's the point of believing in truth? Because I don't really know why, but I feel like a strong attachment to defending what is true or not.
I think there's a more than one reason, but I think a basis of it would be like if we can agree on what is fact and like what is provable and definable, then we're at least like we're all playing on the same playing field. We all have the same level of understanding. Yeah, we all live in the same reality. When you introduce ideas that you believe that are not just without proof and evidence, but actually are contrary to proof and evidence, then you're
fucking with the world.
It's lunacy. It's complete. I don't know if it's particularly a narcissism, but it's like to believe that you know better because you believe.
Faith.
Yeah. It's
mysterious ways.
It's like believe. I understand the idea of taking things on faith in the sense of like I know that like if I ask someone to do a certain thing, like a friend or a coworker or whatever, I ask someone to do a thing for me that I trust, like I can believe, I can just take on faith that they will remember to do it and get it done.
We all believe our car's not going to explode every morning. Like,
faith in itself is not the thing that's bad. It's what you put your faith into.
True. I agree.
I think that.
But why is someone? Because let's say the true radical believers, it's not like they think they're lying, right?
Right.
So why is and I'm asking this genuinely because I feel it so strongly, and I have an idea why, but it's hard to verbalize. I don't know why it bothers me quite. Maybe it's just the effects, the consequences, but I'm exploring it. Why is it so aggravating when someone believes something that isn't true if they truly believe it? Like, and it's not deceptive or disingenuous.
The thing that I used to believe was, I think the thing that people have said before, that I've heard before, is like, if someone is raised a certain way and they're taught to believe a certain way and they grow up thinking a certain thing their whole life, over years and years, like they're not, it's hard to, make them see something a different way, or to, teach them new things, or to teach them, how that worldview or thought process is wrong. But I think that's just a cover for people who are stubborn and shitty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm not old, but I'm in my early 30s, and I've definitely had thought processes and ideas and, opinions about things that upon just getting a little bit more familiar with the topic, I've absolutely changed my thought process on, change my opinions on, because I realized that that opinion came from a lack of understanding. But now that I've been presented with evidence and understanding, I'm able to say, oh, okay, then I was wrong. It's when you choose to live in the ignorance, when you choose to I don't even want to say ignore.
Because they think we're ignorant. They think we're ignoring the truth. Like it's such a like mirror world mind fuck, but I don't understand. Yeah, I think maybe it's really just all about the consequences. Like I don't know if it would bother us so much that somebody believed something dumb if it didn't alter our reality too.
Right. If it wasn't something that affected my reality in a way that, whether it was, people trying to vote Christian morals into politics or into laws, if it wasn't people who are so hell-bent on their God is the right God that they're willing to, kill people who say otherwise. If it wasn't for, to the point where you can't even, like, as a journalist, talk about it without worrying about exactly, or having a fucking, bomb go off at your fucking, place of work.
Or like, unironically, there are, it's an incredibly small chance, but there are like possibilities of consequences for things we say about religion on this podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's, I mean, it makes it kind of fun, but yeah, it's not the world I want to be living in.
No, it would be one thing if it was like a small minority of people that, I mean, it would still be wild, but at least it would be like, okay, but that's not most people. But it's like, most people identify as some kind of religion. Yeah.
Islam will be the biggest religion. They are currently the fastest growing. By the end of the century, they will most likely be the world's biggest religion. And the U.S., what percent Christian? We've looked at this so many times. Is it 63? It's gone down since in the last like 5-10 years. I think it used to be like 74% when we were kids. Now it's like 63.
Yeah, there was that thing talking about like within the next 20 or 40 years or something, like the Christianity will be a minority.
Yeah. It's part of me is because I'm fascinated. Like there are so many things where like Catholicism is the religion I hate the most because it was part of my life so much.
Yeah, you see it more. It's more connected to, yeah.
But something I have realized, there are degrees of badness, right? Like, is it... the analogy I have is called molestation math, and I'm trying to decide if I save it for another day. Is it worse if a priest catches 10 kids or 5, right? There's degrees of badness. We could say both things are... both cases were terrible, but one was a little bit worse than the other, right?
Right.
Like religions, there are degrees of terror. There are degrees of harm. There are degrees of consequence. And not all these churches, religion, groups, cultures are the same. Like just because they are bad doesn't mean they're all exactly the same type or kind of bad. And worse... I don't know how much like normies see, but on the internet and in a lot of these spaces, we're seeing a lot of really big changes in culture's not the right word, but in tone or in energy. The Nazis online are incredibly weak right now. Like, this has been, the last year or two has been like the white supremacists' worst years. And online, the spaces change online always like 5 years before the real world, like the trends like that. And in the next, 5-10 years, whatever, in our lifetime, we're going to see Christian nationalism slowly pushed out to Islam. And it's really interesting to see how many Republicans are glomming onto it or finding all the things they agree with in Sharia law right now. And it sounds, I'm not saying it in an alarmist sense. Like, it's not, I don't feel like it is the panic thing to worry about or like that, but there are changes in it. These things are going to become increasingly part of our lives, or the conversations around politics or culture or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I mean, that was absolutely a meme a few years ago of just like, man, if these like Southern conservative, like racist, misogynistic people, like if they knew how much they had in common with these, like radical extremist
jihadi Johns.
Yeah, like they would agree on so many things that just the difference is, is your God white or not?
And do you remember when we talked about a few months back, you thought it was very funny, and I was like, dude, it's not a joke. I was saying the culturally Christians, where they don't believe in Christian, but they believe the values of Christianity are most pragmatic, so they choose to call themselves Christian.
Yes.
That is really big right now. It is the spinoff of Jordan Peterson. And like downstream from him, there's one other guy that, because Peterson's been about that for a while, but it wasn't like, he tries to not say it's true. Like, he still tries to call himself a real Christian. And now there's the wave of people behind him that are like, we don't believe in Christianity, but this is the white culture we want for America, so we're choosing to be culturally Christian. That is that is the
convenient Christian.
Yeah, it's like the secondary wave of like, we can't get Nazism quite off the ground as easily anymore, so let's go culturally Christian.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is, man. It's I don't know, I find the dynamics between, whether it's the debates or arguments or the clashes online, incredibly interesting though, because it is the marketplace of ideas, the battle of wits or influence, probably more than intelligence most of the time. Who can influence which groups where and when to get,
and it's all happening live on Twitch.
Yeah, well, Twitch sucks now. I mean, they've always sucked, but now
live on YouTube, whatever.
YouTube's growing, and so are the like the degen platforms like Kick, Rumble, Mastodon.
Is that one made me mad because
they took your favorite band's name?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and when I look up Mastodon, I mean, they're still the top result, but still.
I'd be pretty mad too if Mastodon had a single good song.
Go fuck yourself. Mastodon's great.
I need to give him a second shot. I don't know why I got so turned. Did they have vocals I dislike? Is that the deal?
Maybe like three of their different band members all sing on different songs, and sometimes multiple of them sing on like the same song.
I think
they do different shit with it.
I've heard some of that where I liked, and maybe like one of the vocalists I really didn't like or something.
Also, to be, if you're ever looking to them again, like let me know, because like all of their albums are extremely different. There's a lot of like concept shit, so
they got variety.
They're very different vibes. Their older shit's a lot harder and kind of more raw, and some of their newer stuff's a lot more proggy. And
those bands where you're like, I definitely don't like this band, but I associate it with cool people.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I think this band sucks because my taste is so much better. But I realize lots of good people like this band. And if they,
Yeah, no, the music kicks ass for sure. Even if you don't like the vocals, the fucking drummer's insane.
Hell yeah. Speaking of music, we Ricky wrote us up on an entire Insane Clown Posse episode. We're just waiting for the day you're not too blown out and burn up from work.
Yeah, for real. Oh man, wait, was the gathering recently?
Yeah, just this week. You missed it.
Oh man.
It was a good time. A lot of juggalos and juggalettes. A lot of Fago.
A lot of wrestling.
And FBI agents recording everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's just standard in the juggalo community, right?
It's everyone everyone in the area gets all freaked out, and then, well, I think they haven't had any trouble. I think they moved it to Ohio, and they haven't had any problems.
I know we've done and we're gonna do that episode soonish. My recollection is they are still indeed on the gang list, but they're incredibly low priority, or there just aren't a lot of cases prosecuted right now.
They were like suing for damages.
And they didn't win that.
Correct. They were trying to get some kind of compensation for the people who were, put on, who lost their jobs and like lost, like access to their kids and shit like that because they were put on a gang list.
For having a Hatchet Man tattoo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or just wearing shirts and shit like.
Yeah. Incredibly interesting. Like, I feel like in retrospect, right, we have, when we did that episode about prison conviction by rap lyrics, that was still a new phenomenon. Like, that what I think the one we talked about, it wasn't the first case. There was like a case like 5 years before that. This cat is driving me nuts. There was like a case 5 years before that. I think that was like a really big deal, but it hadn't became like the norm, and now there's new cases every month for charges based on rap lyrics, and the Juggalos being the first band to have their fans put on a gang list, I think will really be like a big footnote in music history at some point.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it is incredible.
And the reason they ended up kicking it out is wild. Like, we'll get into the details when we ended up finally doing that episode, but it was like the Supreme Court said, well, the FBI is not responsible for what happened, for these arrests and what happened to these people, because those were all carried, they weren't carried out by the FBI. Those arrests and whatnot were carried out by like local law enforcement.
Yeah.
But it was the FBI that told local law enforcement that it was a gang.
Right.
And
I was listening about a court case. It was like 10 years ago, but it was a freedom of speech court case about a guy that was begging for change, and he had signs that had like cursing on it. And there was a lawsuit all these years later trying to sue the cops, because the cops straight up fucking assaults him, of course, over a fucking sign. Like, so stupid to begin with, but the argument, like, well, the cops' argument, I didn't find the sign personally offensive, but you have freedom of speech, but in this municipal, we've decided this is disturbing the public, so you have your freedom of speech, but
you don't actually.
Yeah, but if people complain, and in this, like, and it's like free speech absolute, or like people that will strong defend will, like, you could say all those things, but having it on a sign where anyone could see change, there's all these like nuances, and like, what city were you in? What were their, laws on this? It becomes like trivial, where like, just because the feds, or just because local police brought in the Juggalos, but it's based off a federal, mandate or whatever, it like creates loopholes of responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, the more down the chain, like from federal to what state to what city to what police department, what cops went out that day, how was like all these like spaces for responsibility to escape. And it's incredibly frustrating when you're looking at a court case like that, where you're like, we have like a clear precedent that the law is supposed to be this way, but if it shakes out in this order of events or through this part of what system, then we know no one will get held accountable, and in practice, it's essentially like illegal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, incredibly frustrating. Because even if you win a court case, just having to go through with it is 99% of the time not going to be worth it.
Right.
It's, you're up against odds, you know? That's the American dream, right?
Yep, up against the odds.
In a big dumpster of trash, hoping you find a Big Mac. America. Well, get us out of here, Abby.
Yeah, I need to go drink a bunch of water because I
feel like you're going to faint as soon as we click the stop button.
I mean, that's not too far from the truth. I'm pretty much going to go chug about a quart of water and then go to sleep and then have to wake up to go to the bathroom. But
I liked my advice to get you a vacation off work. Just, tomorrow take a breather during the middle of your day. Just make sure you do it on someone else's porch.
Yeah.
And you'll get a mandatory police enforced vacation from work.
Yeah, that's my boss would bail me out so quick.
Tell him not to. Say, bro, I need a breather. he need some R&R in here.
He'd be like, wait, hold on. Can you take him back? Can we just wait till later? Can we wait till the end of the day? Can you just sleep it off over here tonight?
He'd show up to the jail with an Indiana Jones whip. Like,
yeah, I'm breaking them out.
Popsicles.
Drive the truck through the front of the building.
All right.
Yeah, that's a podcast. That's all we need to do today. Thanks again for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trash Cats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, if you're super bored, you can check out my trashy art that I'm struggling with, but not ever given up. So go fuck yourself on Instagram at Skyzix, SKYZSCX. Insane Clown Posse, crazy violence in France. We got big, hypey stuff on the way. So appreciate you guys sticking around.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
Have you ever taken a piss and it was the
all
color
the time.
and it was the color of orange Gatorade?
You're too dehydrated, or you have blood in your urine.
No, I know what blood in my urine looks like.